I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I have made tons of money mistakes in my 20s. And now I want to share everything I have learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been so locked into something that time just disappeared? Like you looked up and suddenly 4 hours went by and you had no idea. Maybe it was playing a sport or making music or even just working on a project that excited you. You were in the zone. Nothing else mattered. No anxiety about tomorrow, no regret about yesterday, just you and the thing you were doing. That feeling is called flow state. And here's the crazy part. Most people think that feeling is rare or that only super successful people get to experience it. But the truth is you can create it on purpose. And I am living proof that it works. I want to tell you about my World of Warcraft addiction. Yeah, I said it. I played that game way too much. If you never played it, let me paint the picture. You create a character. You pick your faction, alliance, or horde. I was alliance, by the way. You pick your race. I went with night elves mostly because they looked cool. Then you pick your class. Are you going to be a tank who takes all the damage, or a healer who keeps everyone alive, or a damage dealer who just goes in and wrecks stuff? Every choice matters, and once you are in the game, you get quests, you level up, you grind for better gear, you join dungeons with other players, and the whole time your brain is just completely focused. No distractions, no thoughts about your crappy job or your overdue bills or that thing you said 5 years ago that still keeps you up at night, just pure focus on the game. And here's the thing, that game felt more rewarding than real life, and that is a problem. Because when real life feels boring and pointless compared to a video game, you start to check out, you go to work, you come home, you scroll on your phone, you maybe eat something mediocre, you sleep, you do it all over again, and somewhere deep down, there has to be more than this. So I started asking myself, why does a video game feel so good? And what I found changed everything. Flow state is a concept that a guy named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying. He wrote a book called Flow, and basically he figured out that people are happiest when they are fully absorbed in a challenging task that matches their skill level, not when they are relaxing or watching television or buying stuff, when they are actively engaged in something that stretches them just enough. Not too easy so you get bored, and not too hard so you get anxious. That sweet spot right in the middle is where flow lives. And here's the part that blew my mind. Csikszentmihalyi says the mind naturally tends toward disorder. He calls it psychic entropy. Basically, your brain is like a room. If you do not clean it, it gets messy. Thoughts pile up. Worries creep in. You start thinking about that awkward thing you said in high school, or the deadline you are stressed about, or the fact that you have no idea what you are doing with your life. Your mental energy gets scattered in a million directions and you feel overwhelmed and exhausted for no clear reason. Flow is the opposite of that. Flow is when your mind is completely ordered, every bit of your attention is pointed in one direction. There is no chaos. There is just the task, and that feels incredible. So I started looking at my life differently. I realized that video games are designed to create flow. They give you clear goals: go kill these 10 monsters, collect this item, reach this level. They give you instant feedback. You see your XP bar go up, you get a new piece of gear, you unlock a new ability, they match the challenge to your skill level. When you are a noob, the game gives you easy quests. As you get better, the game gets harder, and they eliminate distractions. When you are in a dungeon raid, you are not checking your phone or wondering what to eat for dinner. You are focused. So I asked myself, what if I could structure my real life like a video game? What if I could set clear goals, break them down into manageable quests, and track my progress like I was leveling up a character? And what if I could cut out the noise that was pulling my attention in a million directions? So that is exactly what I started doing. First, I had to get clear on what I actually wanted. Not what my parents wanted, or what society told me I should want, or what looked good on Instagram, what I actually wanted. And that was harder than I thought, because I had spent years just going through the motions, school, job, repeat. I never stopped to ask myself what would actually make me feel alive. So I sat down and I wrote out an anti-vision. That is a fancy way of saying I wrote down everything I did not want. I did not want to be broke at 40. I did not want to hate my career. I did not want to feel stuck and resentful every morning when my alarm went off, and just writing that down gave me clarity. Because once you know what you are running from, it is easier to figure out what you are running toward. Then I created a vision. What did I actually want my life to look like? I wanted financial freedom. I wanted work that felt meaningful. I wanted time to spend with people I care about. I wanted to feel like I was growing, not just existing, so I broke that vision down into big goals: 5-year goals, 1-year goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals. And here's the key. I did not just set the goals and forget them. I reviewed them every single day. I kept them at the top of my mind so that my brain started noticing opportunities that matched those goals. It is like when you buy a red car and suddenly you see red cars everywhere. Your brain filters what you pay attention to. If your goals are clear, your brain will start spotting ways to make them happen. Next, I had to deal with the distraction problem. Look, man, our phones are designed to destroy flow. Every notification is a little hook that pulls your attention away from what matters. And the worst part is, we let it happen. We check our phones 30 times a day for no reason. We scroll through content that does not matter. We fill our brains with noise and then wonder why we feel scattered and anxious. So I started creating environments that made focus easier. I turned off notifications notifications. I set specific times for checking email and social media. I put my phone in another room when I needed to do deep work. I used headphones with instrumental music to signal to my brain that it was time to lock in. None of these are magic tricks, but they help. They reduce the friction between you and flow. The other big thing I learned is that you need the right level of challenge. If your job is too easy, you get bored and your mind wanders. If it is too hard, you get anxious and want to quit. Flow lives in the middle. So if you feel stuck at work, ask yourself, is this too easy or too hard? If it is too easy, can you take on more responsibility or learn a new skill? If it is too hard, can you break the task down into smaller pieces? Can you ask for help? Can you get more training? The goal is to adjust the challenge so it matches your current skill level, and then as you improve, raise the challenge. I also started thinking about my skills like a video game character. In World of Warcraft, you have a skill tree. You put points into different abilities to become stronger. In real life, you have skills too. Communication skills, financial skills, relationship skills, health skills. Most people never deliberately invest in leveling up their skills. They just coast on what they learned in school or their first job. But if you want to get into flow more often, you have to keep learning, you have to keep pushing your abilities, because flow comes from growth, not from stagnation. So I started learning things that actually mattered to my goals. I learned about personal finance, I learned about investing, I learned about building an online business, I learned about writing and marketing, and I did not just consume information passively. I applied it. I started a side hustle, I built an audience, I created products, and every step of the way I hit obstacles and felt overwhelmed and wanted to quit. But I kept going because I knew that growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone. That is where flow lives, right at the edge. Now, I am not going to sit here and tell you that my life is perfect. It is not. I still have days where I feel stuck or lazy or distracted. I still catch myself reaching for my phone when I should be working. But the difference is I know how to pull myself back. I know the signs of psychic entropy. When my mind feels cluttered and scattered, I stop and I reset. I take a few deep breaths. I remind myself of my goals. I eliminate one distraction at a time, and I start with the smallest possible task to build momentum. Let me give you a practical example. Say you want to get in better shape. Most people set a goal like I want to lose 30 pounds. That is not a bad goal, but it is too big to create flow. You cannot just go lose 30 pounds right now. Your brain does not know where to start, so you procrastinate. Instead, break it down like a video game quest this week. Your quest is to work out 3 times. Today, your quest is to go for a 20-minute walk after work. That is it. That is manageable. That is clear. That gives you a chance to get into flow. And when you finish that quest, you get a little dopamine hit. You feel good. You want to do it again. That is how progress happens. One small quest at a time. The same goes for your finances. A lot of people feel overwhelmed by money because they do not have a clear system, they do not know where their money is going, they do not have a plan, and that creates psychic entropy. Their mind is full of financial anxiety. So start with one quest, open a spreadsheet, or use an app and track every dollar you spend for 1 week. That is it. Do not try to fix everything at once. Just become aware. Awareness is the first step toward control, and control is what creates flow. When you know exactly what you are working with, you can make clear decisions and take focused action. I also learned that flow is not just about work. It applies to everything: cooking, cleaning, exercising, having a conversation with a friend. Any activity where you are fully present and engaged can become a flow experience. The key is to treat it with the same mindset. Set a clear intention, focus your attention, match the challenge to your skill level, get feedback on your progress, and eliminate distractions. If you are washing dishes, put on some music and focus on the sensation of the water and the soap and the movement. Do not think about your email or your to-do list. Just be there. And you will be surprised how much better even boring tasks feel. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is thinking that motivation comes before action. They wait until they feel inspired to start working on their goals. But that is backwards. Action creates motivation. When you start a task, even if you do not feel like it, your brain releases dopamine and you start to feel engaged. That is the flow state kicking in. So do not wait for the perfect moment. Just start, set a timer for 5 minutes and work on something. Give yourself permission to stop after 5 minutes if you really hate it. 9 times out of 10, you will keep going because once you start, it is easier to stay in motion. Another thing that helped me was embracing the fact that I am a beginner at a lot of things. In video games, you do not expect to be a master warrior when you first create your character. You start as a level 1 scrub and you accept that you will fail a bunch of times before you get good. But in real life, we are terrified of looking like beginners. We want to be good at everything immediately. And that pressure kills flow because it makes the challenge too high. We get anxious and freeze. So cut yourself some slack, allow yourself to suck at something new, embrace the process of leveling up one small win at a time. I want to circle back to something I said earlier about purpose. A lot of people in their 20s feel lost. They do not know what they want to do with their lives, and that is okay. You do not need to have everything figured out right now, but you do need direction. You need a general sense of which way is forward, and the way you find that is by experimenting, try different things, take on projects that scare you, fail at stuff, learn from it. Each experience will teach you something about what you like and what you do not like, and over time that clarity builds. The most meaningful goals are the ones we choose for ourselves, not the ones that were assigned to us. When you are working toward a goal that you genuinely care about, flow comes naturally. Your attention locks in because the task matters to you. So if you feel like you are just going through the motions in life, ask yourself, what would I work on if no one was watching? What problem would I try to solve if I knew I could not fail? What kind of person do I want to become? Those questions will point you toward your own path. I also want to talk about the trap of easy dopamine, scrolling social media, watching mindless videos, eating junk food. These things give you a tiny hit of pleasure, but they do not create flow. They actually do the opposite. They scatter your attention and leave you feeling empty afterward. Flow requires effort. It requires you to engage your skills and focus your mind, but the reward is way better than any quick dopamine hit. The reward is genuine satisfaction, the feeling of being alive and capable and in control. So here is my challenge to you. Pick one area of your life where you feel stuck or bored or distracted. It could be your health, your finances, your career, your relationships, and apply the video game framework to find your quest. What is the one small achievable thing you can do today? Set up feedback. How will you know if you are making progress? Eliminate distractions. Put your phone away, close unnecessary tabs. Give yourself a quiet space to focus, and then just start. Do not overthink it. Do not wait until you feel ready. Just take the first step. I promise you, the feeling of making progress on something that matters to you is way better than any game you will ever play. And once you taste that real life flow, you will not want to go back to just coasting peace.